Ohayo!
Ohayo!
Welcome to Level Japanese podcast that we talk all things about Japan from a Japanese
and a foreigner perspective.
We are your hosts. My name is Ryusuke.
And I'm Matt. Thank you for joining us today.
ありがとうございます。
And today's episode,
はい。
we're doing 10 phrases that you want to know before you go to Japan.
So this episode is actually, I would say, street level Japanese episode. But as you guys know, we got a new host, Matt, here. So I just want to make sure we're going to start doing this again. Most likely in the same way that I used to do with John. But obviously, I'm going to do with Matt. So I want you guys to know we're doing this for free because me and John were used to put this all in Patreon. So only the Patreon member subscribers could listen to this episode. But again, just because we're doing this renew again. So we wanted to give this like couple free episode. Then maybe we start doing Patreon again in the near future. So anyway, hopefully you guys can enjoy this episode. Why? Because I know there's so many demand people going to Japan these days. Yes, Matt?
Yes. I think everybody, especially after pandemic and lockdowns and open up, it's like I feel like tourism's boomed again. People want to go, want to know language. So I think the street level Japanese is good for people to get back in there and start thinking about what they need to think about for like communicating when they're traveling Japan.
Yeah, especially like even before when we are doing this street level Japanese, there's so many people asking, like our listeners always keep questioning us like, can you do this, can you do that, or like so many good comment that like you guys giving us, like thank you so much for like you guys are looking for this type of information that you can't find on Japanese textbook. And then I agree with it, because why we start doing this is because like we don't want to do like Japanese textbook style, like very formal, boring, like
and
dasai,
like, not even natural sounding,
and no even natural. Like as a Japanese, we actually don't really use that type of word. So this give you guys really, I would say, like easy and most useful Japanese word that you can get. And so just please remember, this is not from the textbook. That means, yes.
So put away your Genki.
Exactly. And
you won't find it in there.
You don't find on the textbook, and you're not gonna argue with us that this wasn't on my textbook, because yes, it's not. And then why we're doing this, and then why I pick all this Japanese word, because I think this is very naturally I say when we talk to Japanese people. Okay? So we're gonna start doing like same way as before. Obviously Matt's gonna lead all the phrases, and then 4 different sentences we have: super formal, formal, informal, and street level Japanese. So we put this all information in one, so it's really easy to understand. Then you can pick which one you actually want to use during you staying in Japan, and then you meet Japanese people, like you get this situation. Is that correct? Yeah. So let's start doing this.
Okay.
Yep.
So again, these are 10 phrases that you want to know before you go to Japan. And I think the first one's pretty useful when you're learning Japanese and people speak so quickly, right? Like if you're a native speaker, you're going to speak so quickly. And it's the same when you speak English. So the first phrase here just means like, please say it again. So for super formal,
もう一度おっしゃっていただけますか?
formal.
もう一度言っていただけますか？
Informal.
もう一回お願いします。
And then street level.
なんて言った？なんて
That
言
one
った？
just makes that one makes me laugh because なんて言った sounds
なんて言った？
so. I would say, does that sound rude? Because it's like, what'd you say? Is basically what it translates to.
Exactly. So that's what me and John, when we do this, we always say, yes, it could be rude, but street level Japanese is basically used for your friend, your family, your siblings. So it could be rude. Why? Because like you guys have like such a close relationship each other.
Yeah, I guess the emphasis there, friend as in someone you know very well, very casually.
Exactly. Like long time.
Or not casually, like someone you can speak your mind to. But if you're just like your friend from work, you probably would at least use informal, maybe, but maybe not.
You don't you don't say to your boss like when he or she says something to you and then you're not gonna go like Nantita? They're gonna be like and they feel like, all right, what's wrong with you? Can we talk to you now? And then you say like Nantita again?
You're like sumimasen.
Sumimasen. Yeah. So yeah, that was the good one, the first one. Let's go second.
Okay, so and this is helpful for obviously when you're staying somewhere like a hotel. For check-in. So I'd like to check in. Super formal.
チェックインをさせていただきたいのですが。
Formal.
チェックインお願いします。
Informal.
チェックインお願い。
Street level.
チェックインで。
Again, that sounds less rude to me, but it seems like you're in a hurry to me.
Yeah.
Check in there. Like, okay, I need to check in.
I think I use when I go to Japan and I need to check in at the hotel. I think I say チェックインお願いします。Actually.
Yeah. Okay.
I go formal.
Okay.
But I know.
Would you ever really say street level for that situation? Probably not.
But what I heard from like my next counter, like there was a salary man. I think he used to go hotel so many times. So like those people know how to say, right? And then I think they're very relaxed too. And then they're like they're type of like I'm a customer. So
like they're regular,
go
almost.
So they go straight to the counter. Then they say check in there. I saw it, the situation. So
really, okay,
yeah. But in a way, it's not really rude. But obviously, like you need to have the confidence. Like I've been staying in hotels so many times. I always do business trip or something like that. Yeah.
And like, I would say just as advice, like people are gonna assume you probably actually are fairly fluent if you talk like that so easily.
Yeah.
And then they will respond with like fluent, quick Japanese, and then you'll be screwed if you don't
understand. Exactly.
So I would personally default as a tourist to check-in onegaishimasu because that's just simple, formal, and people will. It's like polite, It's just like I would like to do my check-in, please. That's how would you say it in English when you go to a hotel? Like I'd like to check in, please. And that's the equivalent. You're just being polite. In that case, I don't know how to say. I can't even try and say super formal. Itadakitai desu ga.
Itadakitai no desu ga.
Like I'm wanting to.
Yes, to check in.
What's sasete?
させていただきたいのですが That means like can I, like may I,
like ask you to take, like or be able to take
exactly
check in for me or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so next one is what's that? Yeah. So next one is I forgot my key in the room, which I think is quite helpful as well. So I forgot my key in the room. super formal.
部屋に鍵を忘れてしまいました。
Formal.
部屋に鍵を忘れました。
Informal.
部屋に鍵忘れちゃったよ。
Street level.
部屋に鍵置いてきた。
I'm laughing because your facial expressions and the way you talk changes to like 4 different characters.
Exactly.
I just saw four different versions of Rusuke.
Yes.
The first one I feel like is like customer service.
Yeah.
Like / like train announcement or something.
Yeah.
Like version, and then formal I feel like is just like neutral, and then informal you're like suddenly you're like more relaxed, and then street level you look like a punk. You're like, hey, like Yankee comes out here as soon as you get to street level.
Because for me it's like definitely this. I'll go street level Japanese like 部屋に鍵置いてきた。
Yeah, like shit,
so,
like
yeah,
I
so
forgot my key.
Those like super formal to informal, I use 忘れました、忘れちゃった。忘れた means I forgot. But basically the street level Japanese, you don't even say I forgot. I say I left. I left my key. But it means but it means you forgot. So it's same.
Yeah.
And then when it goes to street level Japanese, you always use like a quick word that you can just get from your brain, right? So
you're just expressing the main
exactly.
point.
I don't think I go like 忘れちゃった or like 忘れた. I just go like, oh shit, I left my key. 置いてきた. Because I must be so annoyed and angry.
Yeah. You're like, damn it. Or you like ran back to your hotel. You're like, I left my key in my room.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, probably the most likely. You're not going to be going,
but
部屋に鍵を忘れてしまいました.
No, but the super formal, you still need to explain sometimes. For example, you go business trip.
Yes.
And then you meet your boss. Then you forgot your key. Then you need something to get back. But now you need to go explain. So then you need to explain your boss first, like, 部屋に鍵を忘れてしまいました. So boss goes like, oh fuck, so just go find out, something like that, right? This again, it's very useful in 4 different way. Yep.
I almost feel like you would only use those 2, you know, if it's like business situation, super formal.
Yeah.
And then any other situation, you're just gonna be like, damn it, my key. Like, 鍵を置いてきた.
Yeah.
And like, but so like, I would, I mean, if you're explaining, I guess, to the staff at the hotel, you'd be like, 部屋に鍵を忘れました. And then they'd be like, okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hopefully that's useful here. So the next situation is there's more context to this one. If you're like at a restaurant, I guess.
Yep.
And you're like wanting to know if like you can sit or this table's available. You might be like, is anyone here? Like, is anyone at this table? And so the super formal for that.
こちらどなたかおられますか?
Formal.
この席誰かいますか?
Informal.
ここ誰かいる?
And street level.
ここいい?
Again, your face. I think I would probably in that moment I'd probably be like something like koko dareka iru or koko ii. And I feel like koko ii is even my default for that. Like koko ii desu ka? Like
exactly. Have you used this word? Have you asked?
Yeah, like at work or something, like if it's like just casual to, you know, oh, can I sit here?
Yeah.
Like a meeting or something, you know.
Yeah.
Koko ii.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or putting something
it's useful.
Somewhere. Yeah. It is very useful. I think it's pretty well. It doesn't sound too rude either to say like koko ii, like kono seki.
Yeah. Kono seki.
I don't like
means
over here.
Oh, like this seat, this table.
Oh.
Yeah. is there anyone on this table or is there anyone on this seat? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Dareka is it's like anyone. Imasu.
Yeah, there's anyone. Yeah. So
I mean,
actually, Matt also learning Japanese now, so this is very good.
We're like proxy for some listeners, I guess.
Yeah.
I do have some of the language background.
Yeah.
But not. I really don't know. I don't know any keigo. That's for sure.
So that's why it's good, right?
Like, I should know keigo.
Yeah.
And then so the next one, still in the restaurant context here for the next few. The next one is, which menu do you recommend? Super formal.
どちらのメニューがおすすめでございますか？
Formal.
どのメニューがおすすめですか？
Informal.
どのメニューがおすすめ？
And street level.
おすすめ何？
We laugh every time. おすすめ何？
おすすめ何？ So obviously,
that sounds so rude to me.
obviously, recommended means is おすすめ. So what's your recommendation? Recommended menu is おすすめ. So street level Japanese, you just go straight way like おすすめ何?
Honestly, I feel like that's what I'd be saying to like you if you brought me to like a restaurant and I didn't know what to order. I'd be like, oh, you like おすすめ何? Like while we're looking at the menu, you know.
おすすめ何?
But
ここのおすすめ何?
Yeah. Oh yeah. What do you recommend here?
Yeah.
ここおすすめ何?
This and also this you can definitely also ask a server or even like I know there's a lot of small Japanese restaurant that like you sit at the bar and then like the worker or like chefs are inside and then just cooking and then serving you. So that situation is very useful. Like you can always go どのメニューがおすすめですか? Or 何がおすすめですか? Or you can always say おすすめ何?
So is that saying though which menu or like what on the menu?
That means like which menu on this menu. What's popular? What's your recommendation? Because like also because you guys will be shocked how many restaurants in Japan and you need to find most of the restaurant 99% restaurant if it's open that means it's good because there's no way bad restaurant could survive in Japan. And so
unless
when
you're like I don't know small town or something,
exactly
there's no options.
Exactly. But
Tokyo,
and then when you go like any restaurant and then you didn't even plan to go this and then you don't know what they have or you know like a little bit about this about the restaurant, then you can definitely go and ask, oh, this is my first time, like おすすめは何ですか? おすすめ何? And then they go, okay, so I can pick you this and this and that, right?
Yeah.
And because when I was in Kyoto, actually, like there's foreigner customers that don't speak even Japanese, and then the server, the chefs was in the kitchen. They don't even speak Japanese. I know English. So at some point I helped them. You know, because they both don't understand, right? So I helped them a little bit.
Yeah.
And when I saw those situations, I'm like, oh yeah, like they should have this word, like おすすめは何ですか? And then at least they can point that. But that problem, also the other problem is sometimes there's no English menu. So
yes, and sometimes that's just. I think that's just going to be tricky in general if you really don't know. Like if you're at like yakitori and you're like,
exactly.
おすすめは何ですか or something. おすすめ何? Like they might, maybe they'll recommend what they think like a foreigner is most likely to be acceptable. Like negima or something. They might not recommend like
no chicken sashimi or
or like
guts or
like what's that gamo gizzard or whatever. Anyway. Like
砂ずり
Yes, so like things like so it might help if you're really unsure. Or you're really like, I don't know.
Yep.
So useful.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go next.
Of course. So next is, of course, important. Check, please. So super formal.
お会計をお願いいたします。
Formal.
お会計お願いします。
Informal.
お会計お願い。
And street level.
お勘定。
お勘定. Okay, 初めてそれ。
お勘定.
So,
oh, really? You never heard?
That's just like a more colloquial way of saying bill. Like bill.
Yes. Check. Yeah. Like, this is really like also, maybe it's very, I shouldn't really say, but this somehow old man things.
Oh yeah,
like,
oji-san thing.
Oji-san things. Yeah.
Salaryman thing.
I know I shouldn't divide it by age. Age or like
and gender.
Gender, but Japan still has those a lot, and I don't really heard female person said okanjo, but I see.
What do they say?
お会計お願いします。
Okay.
Yeah, but izakaya only salaryman drinking, get drunk.
Yeah.
They wanna just go next round and they wanna pay now.
Yeah.
They go like okanjo.
Okay.
Yeah. So
do people ever do like raise their hand like this, like okanjo?
No. I think
there's no gesture, just like.
Well, sometimes they're trying to get people, but
yeah,
I think that no, people just wait. Also, because either it's small restaurant or if it's big restaurant, most likely they have the button, so you can call server or whoever if you need any help. So
that's true. Right? That's true.
Yeah, and then when also even female people, you can obviously use okanjo. You can still say okanjo onegaishimasu. It's just okanjo is kind of like very straightforward, and then that to me is like bit old drunk salaryman. They go like okanjo. So, but you can still say okanjo onegaishimasu. They will understand too.
So in this case, you could say informal, and then there's drunk level.
Exactly.
When you're drunk in Japanese.
Exactly.
Perfect use.
Yep.
Rusuke's main vocabulary.
Yep.
Drunk in Japanese.
Yep.
Just kidding.
Next one.
Okay, so this is also very useful, and I found this sort of phrase is helpful, because like especially if you're like buying a train ticket, and you're trying to figure that out, or like I would be taking night buses when I was in Japan and stuff too. So you're always trying to like ask about the ticket, make sure you know where you're going. You've gotten on the wrong train before. So can I buy a ticket to blank here? In this case, we'll say Osaka. So can I buy a ticket to Osaka here? Super formal.
こちらで大阪行きの切符は購入可能でしょうか?
Formal.
こちらで大阪行きの切符を買えますか?
Informal.
ここで大阪行きの切符買えます?
And street level.
大阪行き切符ある?
Okay, I just want to make a comment. Okay, so first of all, I think I've never the super formal is a challenge.
Yes, so long.
That's so long. I think I've only done like informal for this, like
okay.
Osaka iki, like nani iki no
yeah.
Kaimasu. Probably be like kaimasu ka.
Yeah.
I noticed just for a second you said you pronounce the su, and I keep bringing this up when I hear like especially Japanese native speakers, because like usually you don't ever pronounce the su sound in mas form or des. People usually you say des, like it's a silent u, and you're like koko de osaka kiki. Meanwhile, I can't even say this. ここで大阪行きの切符買います? You were like 買います?
Yeah.
Did you notice that? And I feel like I keep trying to comment on this and people don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'll be like, oh, on the phone, you're like, ございます? And people will be like, no, I didn't. So, do you have any comment on that?
I think it's just very natural way. So like, I don't really think that I need to say su sound, but obviously I
in
still,
the context.
Yeah, I still say it. Like, ここで大阪行きの切符買えます? 買えます.
So if you're not saying ka at the end.
買えますか? Yeah, so just because this is different style, formal to informal, because ka is more polite. If you don't use the ka and just finish like ここで大阪行きの切符買えます? It's more kind of like a bit lewd in a way. Because like you're like 買えます? It's like a angry.
Oh, like yeah.
If you say 買えますか? It's like, oh, you're asking me, but like you question me now. Like without ka,
so like,
it's more like a question.
Is this where I get tickets or not?
Exactly. But that's why it's informal too, right? You know?
Yeah.
And then because of you, like, because this is question, that's why you go more strong. If you finish with masu, just a regular sentence, not a question, and then maybe the su sound will be way less.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay.
Just because you wanted to ask, so that last su sound gets a little bit like, how to say, more like understandable. Like, ここで大阪行きの切符買えます? Or ここで or like I go not the question wise and then I go ここで大阪行きの切符買えます? You know the difference? ここで大阪行きの切符買えます?
Like this is where, yeah.
買えます.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the difference.
So the u is really more extending to the question when without using ka.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're just stating this is where you get a ticket or this is whatever.
Situation. Exactly. Yeah. That was actually a good question.
And then I just want to add to that. What about when you're like, 買いませんですか? Like, isn't this where you buy a ticket to Osaka? Like, is that an option too? Like, ここでお酒行きの切符買いませんですか? 買えませんか? Sorry. Is that also optional?
Yeah, that's also the option. 買えませんか?
That's like saying, isn't this where I can buy a ticket
to
Osaka Station?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's also the option. Yeah. Good.
Just curious. Yeah. Okay, so I hope that was informative for listeners.
Yeah.
And so within the context of taking a train or transit, next is which...
So next one is basically, especially Japan, you might need to ask, just because there's so many trains are going very close to same direction, and then suddenly they go somewhere different. So you might need to really use this word, and which is...
Especially if you accidentally get like on an express or something, you needed to take local or a different line.
Exactly.
And, JR to whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
So this phrase is, which train goes to blank, or
Shibuya.
So which train, for example, goes to Shibuya. So which train goes to Shibuya? Super formal.
渋谷に行く電車はどちらですか?
Formal.
渋谷に行く電車はどれですか?
Informal.
渋谷行きの電車どれです?
Street level.
渋谷行きどれ?
Okay, so that's interesting too. 渋谷行くの電車どれです? Okay. And then street level 渋谷行きどれ?
Yeah. this
Yeah,
situation.
So it's like if you're already on the train.
No, well, yeah. So like, or even though, because when you go into the platform, there's still so many trains coming in Japan station, and then you thought you get on the right platform, but you still get confused. So you at last minute you might need to still ask someone like, which one is going to Shibuya, you know? And then because going to Shibuya, there's one train line called Yamanote-sen, which is Yamanote-sen is the round like circle train. So
Yamanote line,
yeah. So
the green one,
exactly. So where are you there on the station? Sometimes both way says going Shibuya. If you're just like way far, like opposite side of, you know what I mean, right? So
the end, it's still gonna
exactly. So that gives you more confused sometimes, and don't worry, listeners, you're gonna get confused. If you're trying to take trains, you're gonna get confused.
I have a little story.
Yes.
Happened in Kyoto.
Yes.
I think we were in Osaka or Nara. I think it was Nara, and we're trying to go back to Kyoto or something. We got screwed up. Got on the train going the wrong direction.
Yes.
And so I'm trying to ask this look like young salaryman like, "Sumimasen," like I don't know. I don't even remember what phrase I used, but like, is this going like Kyoto ni ikimasu or something like I was trying to ask which station, and I forget which. But the guy ignored me.
Of course.
Several times I'm like, "Sumimasen," and I'm this close.
Yeah.
I'm like face to face to him on the train. I'm like, "Sumimasen," and he's just like on his phone ignoring me. And then the conductor at the back, because the train was going the other way, so the guy who was at the operator who was at the head of the train, where we were at the back of the train, comes out and like hecks him. It's like, because he was watching this exchange. He's like, and I'm like trying to explain to him like, trying to figure out how to say like, is this the right train, or is this train like kono densha, like, I forget what I said. And anyway, he hecks the salaryman. The salaryman's like, "Oh no." He finally responds to me. He's like, "Oh no, it's the other train." We're like, shit. We had to get off the next station and go back.
At least you got one. So you got answers. So that's good.
Yeah. You might want to stick to asking train staff.
Yeah.
Where you're going. Some people might be intimidated if they see a foreigner trying to talk to them, because they might be like, "Oh no, I don't want to speak English."
Yeah.
However, I also had the inverse where I'm trying to find a bus and I knew where I was going, and this guy kept trying to help me in English, and I was like, "It's okay, daijoubu." Like, I know where I'm going. So you could have the inverse. Locals might ignore you, or locals might desperately try to practice English with you and help you. Also trying to figure out how to get to Asakusa get to downtown from Narita, and this woman was trying to help me, and she's like asking me like where I'm going, and but she didn't speak English. She spoke Spanish, so she's like Spanglish shaberu or something like that, and I'm like, "No, I don't."
Oh my.
Like, wakarimasen. Like, I was like, she's very helpful. She's trying to help me make sure I'm on the right train, and she even approached me twice, like came back to try.
But she only speaks Spanish.
Only spoke Spanish as her second language. So I was like, what's my luck, right? But anyway, it happens.
Yeah.
You probably get confused. People will hopefully help you, and there's always the station staff. Usually,
exactly. The worst case goes to the station staff and ask them. They're always helpful. Yeah.
So the next one now is good for when you're at a tourist spot. It is, can you take a photo for us? So super formal.
私たちの写真を撮っていただけませんか?
Formal.
私たちの写真を撮ってもらえますか?
Informal.
私たちの写真撮ってくれる
Street level.
うちらの写真撮ってくれん
Well, that's so different. I've never heard 撮ってくれん。
撮ってくれん
くれる。そう、くれる、くれん。
撮ってくれん
That also sounds very yeah, so what's くれん?
Like I use 何々してください to 何々してくれん So 何々してください could be 何々してくれん But I think
So that's the same word.
Yes.
ください is a conjugation of くれる.
くれるくれん
Wow, I never made that connection before. ください. So what is that verb then? Please do?
Please do. Yeah. Please do it.
So it's like super.
Can you? Or like,
Super.
can you? 何々してくれん Can you? Something like, can you?
So they're just like, can you
Yeah. Can you take our
this
photo? Yeah. Just quick.
Uchira.
Can you?
What's
Uchira is us.
Us?
Yeah. Uchira. Uchira no.
Can you take a photo of us? Is what
Or-
I say. Yeah. Can you
俺らの-
take a photo of us?
Uchira is more female side word. If it's only men, they might go like orela.
Orera.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I've never heard these ones
Orela.
before. Okay.
Yeah.
Orera. What if it's mixed? It just depends on the gender of the person asking.
And yes, like depends on the person
Okay.
who's asking. Then maybe if it's guy, then maybe they go like orela, but it's including female. If it's female asking someone, then say uchira. That still mean like this male in a group as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, watashi tachi is always just like
Exactly.
us or we.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
写真を撮ってくれる。
私たち. Yeah. Yeah.
もらえますか? Oh, may you no. So can I ask about 撮ってもらえますか? So 撮って is like taking a photo. Taking.
Yes, taking.
もらえます is like bringing, no?
No, can you please do? With this sentence, can you please do? もらえますか? 何々してもらえますか? So there's always verb, and then もらえますか? It means like very polite way to say that. So like
can you please do something for me?
Exactly. Yeah.
撮ってもらえますか? Okay, that's useful. So I'm learning some things here too. I think that sounds really nice if you're if you're a foreigner and you're approaching people like Japanese locals and asking them to take a photo. I think that'll really impress them.
私たちの写真を撮ってもらえますか?
Like,
Yeah, they'll be
polite.
for sure. Yes. はい、わかりました.
You're like, うちらの写真撮ってくれ?
うちらの写真撮ってくれ? It's like, what the
They'd
fuck?
probably be like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they might feel like, where'd you learn that shit? Like, who's your teacher? I want to see your teacher's face.
Yeah.
It's like, who's your parent? I want to see your parents'
Rude
face.
ass gaijin.
Yeah. So if you use the うちらの写真撮ってくれ and then if they ask, and then you can always advertise us. Oh, I get from Level Japanese podcast.
Oh, this podcast.
Yes, please advertise them.
And then we'll get hate mail from
And then
Japanese natives.
I get all the hate mail and comments in Japanese, and I can always comment them back like super nicely.
So yeah, I would say use the street level to your friend. You know, hey, うちらの写真撮ってくれ?
Yeah.
Like somebody very casual with. Don't go up to locals in public at like
exactly.
a temple, at Fushimi Inari being like, hey, I want this fox in my statue here. Can you take a photo of us? They're gonna be like, that's rude.
Yeah. So like again, like street level is always could be lewd. So you guys need to make sure that when you use street level, so for me, the picture situation, for example, there's a bunch of friends and families together, but you still want to take photo with like a part of like your family or like someone you just want to take like 2 or 3 people. Then there's your mom or dad there. If I see my dad and I gonna say like, うちらの写真撮ってくれ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So obviously not to the person who you met first time. Don't do it. They're gonna be like, I would, but now you're asking me that way. I won't.
Yeah, I always think about who you're talking. I think this is just a general rule for Japanese language. Just think about context and who you're talking to and how they relate to you. I think in English it's easier to get away with being casual to strangers because that's a way of actually. I feel like in English that's a really easy way to connect with strangers is being really casual.
Yeah.
When you're like, especially when you're visiting somewhere, but I think. And it's like more relaxing, but situation. But I think in Japan, it's definitely like gonna go a long way if you're more polite to strangers that are locals. But if you really want to make friends, I think it is good to have the street level to really like connect with your friends, and they feel like they can be casual with you. So I think that's just like that's my perspective.
No, that's definitely, and that's why we have this 4 different level that you can actually think and use for different way that gives you more, like more information about Japanese. And then just because Japanese people always using different way to use how we say to other people, different people. So this is actually very informative, and then I think it's very useful as well.
Yeah. And honestly, I do want to reemphasize that I feel like when you're doing super formal or street level, these 2 extremes indicate that you probably are fluent. So don't default to those unless you are really good in Japanese and you know who you're talking to. Otherwise, people are gonna be like, oh shit.
They expect like
I'd say
you understand everything.
I'd default to formal, informal on a regular basis, and then street level with friends, people you've got to know, and then formal only, formal, super formal, super rare, I'd say, unless you're like really, business situation. Anyway, we have one more. This is helpful for when you're like shopping, especially for clothes. And you don't know if you can like try something on, so you want to say like, can I try it on, this garment? So can I try it on, super formal.
こちらを試着させていただけますか?
Formal.
これを試着してみてもいいですか?
Informal.
これ試着していいですか?
And street level.
これ試していい?
I was gonna just make a comment here. You correct me if my assumption's wrong, but I feel like if you were to speak super formal in a customer service situation to the customer service rep, they would be thrown off a bit because usually it's customer service reps, like somebody, when you go to a store, they're speaking super formal to you.
Exactly.
But you wouldn't speak formal to them, super formal to them, because you're the customer. Like you can, but I think like it's actually more important to probably understand super formal questions in a customer service setting, because they're going to be speaking like keigo almost to you probably.
Exactly.
And you might be like, there's been times when I'm in the store, even like konbini, I think, where you're just like,
super
what
formal.
did they say? Because they're like
super formal.
And if you were to speak super formal to them, it's almost like weird, I think, for them, because they're like, no, I'm providing a service to you, so I have to be extra polite. And you could probably use street level to them, and it wouldn't matter because they have to be, I mean, don't be rude, but they will respond super formally no matter what kind of thing, but you might be able to show them like, oh, you can speak more casually with me, I guess, if you're like chill about it. But I think rarely you would speak super formal at
exactly. But that's why it's also a good thing to know that super formal way, just because like Matt say, a lot of like shop attendants or like even konbini, they go very formal. Like for example, they ask you, do you want chopstick? The street level will be like, ohashi irimasu ka? But they might go like, ohashi wa goiriyo desu ka? And you might confuse again. Like, what is goiriyo?
I'd be like,
what is goiriyo? What's that? But that means simply like, do you need chopstick? Yeah. But just because they want to be super pride. So some even konbini staff, they are always being pride. Like, do you want a bag? Same thing. Like, bag wa goiriyo desu ka? So actually, goiriyo is kind of very useful word that you get from someone because I don't think you learn this from textbook. So Japanese textbook
I've never heard
is
that word even.
Always, I mean, in general, textbook is, you can't really use, right? It's just a big dictionary that you're telling me something. Yeah. But when you go to the country, then you actually want to start using that word, you get more confused because like what like how to say this? I actually don't learn this from textbook. Like when I brought here Canada first time, my first thing was like how I say I need to buy stuff, but how I say that word. Because as a Japanese, we studied English from junior high till high school for 6 years. None of textbook taught us to say that word. But when you're out of country, when you start actually need to use the language, first thing you need is like I need to buy shit.
Yeah.
I need to order stuff. But I didn't know Kanai was the one. Can I have? Can I buy? I was like, I thought Kanai is only like when I ask like, can I do this? Like, you know, like, can I
technically
ride the bicycle?
Yes.
Exactly.
Technically, grammatically, yes. You would not say. You would say, "May I?"
Exactly. Yes.
May I? Anybody who grew up here, you would have. I always had this teacher that would be like, if you're like, "Can I go to the bathroom?" Teacher, and the teacher would be like, "I don't know. Can you?"
That's something you get a lot. And then you go like, "May I?" Right?
Like, "May I go to the bathroom, miss?" And they're like, "Yes." Yeah.
I know.
But I think so. Just it's I think it's interesting for so situation.
Of course, like these are all mostly like a questioner type of sentence. So, but you can still learn some word from formal, like super formal phrase. Then because the good part about this street level Japanese episode, we put 4 different ways. So
yes,
you can actually see the super formal and then the street level. What's the difference, right? So I believe this is actually very very useful.
It is very useful.
Yeah.
Although I still can't remember anything that anybody says to me at a konbini.
Yeah.
All the staff memorize it. They do it like 1,000 times a day. So they just be like, super, and you're like, what? It's like one word sentence, like, and it's like the most super formal Japanese you'll ever hear. And I'll be like, I have no idea what you said, but here's my money. But it's good to pick it up. So I guess that completes today's 10 phrases that are useful. I hope this was helpful for everybody.
So we're gonna start doing this street level Japanese episode again. If you guys wanna pick us to some like specific phrase or situation, then we can always make that. So please leave us comment on Instagram or TikTok, or you can always email us, or you can just leave the comment on Spotify or Apple Podcast too, right?
Yes, leave us some comments. Let us know what you think, or what you want to hear, what you want to learn for Japanese language.
Yeah. So I think that's all today's episode. Hope everybody enjoy. And
thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Please stay tuned for next episode. じゃあね。またね。バイバイ。
バイバイ。